Hi everyone, welcome back to AquaTerra-Life. This is Niels and today I'm setting up a brand new terrarium for my red fire salamanders. This time I'm trying something I've never done with adults before, a completely substrate-free setup using only filter foam mats. It's a method I've often used when raising juveniles, but never quite like this. The idea is to create a land section made entirely from stacked filter mats. No soil, no drainage layer, just foam. I've previously used these mats in combination with substrate, but now I'm curious to see how well this minimalist approach works on its own. Since fire salamanders aren't heavy diggers, they should be fine without a digging substrate. Species that love to burrow, like some ambystoma, wouldn't be suitable for this. I'm also going to carve a tunnel into the foam, creating a 2-level height that lets them explore vertically, and possibly make use of more space in the tank. Let's see if they actually use it. Let's start by cutting the mats to the size I need. I'm building a sloped land section on the right, so the top layers are shorter than the ones on the bottom. This creates an easy transition between the water section and the land area. Here I'm trimming the front edge of the slope, so the salamanders can easily climb out of the water. Now that all the layers are cut, I start carving the tunnel. I'm cutting through 2 different layers, so the salamanders can enter at the bottom and follow the tunnel upward to a slightly raised level. It runs right along the glass, so I can easily observe them from the outside when they use it. I've chosen a black filter foam instead of the typical blue ones because I think it just looks nicer, but functionally they are the same. Of course, I give all the mats a thorough rinse before cutting. One great advantage of using filter foam is the massive surface area it provides for beneficial bacteria. Over time, this can help establish a stable biofilm contributing to water quality and microclimate regulation. The mats I've chosen have 35 pores per inch or 35 ppi, which means they have a relatively fine pore structure. If you're trying to build something like this yourself, make sure the mats are firm enough to hold their shape and avoid using anything with chemical additives. To stabilize my tunnel, I'm using small 3D printed columns. These could easily be replaced by sticks or stones, whatever works for you. After printing, I remove the support structures and check for any sharp edges. Meanwhile, I noticed that some curious neighbors are watching me work. They are probably just hoping for some food. So now I can start stacking the mats inside the terrarium. Each layer gets placed carefully, and the columns are inserted to support the upper foam. Here you can see how the tunnel runs through the structure. Finally, I gently press down the top layer to make sure all gaps are closed. Let's move on to the planting. I'm starting with some strands of Ficus pumila, a climbing plant that does really well in my terrariums. I tuck the roots deep between and underneath the mats so they can easily anchor themselves. Next, I add a small dragon tree to the slope near the water section. It will eventually outgrow the tank, but for now it adds some nice greenery. Later I'll probably replace it with a fern. I also add some gravel to the water section to make it look more natural. Now I'm already starting to pour in a bit of water, enough to moisten the ficus and help it settle in. Time to unpack some moss and ivy, which I'll be using in this tank. I actually collected them from my garden. If you're using store-bought plants, make sure to rinse them thoroughly to remove any potential fertilizers or pesticides. Additionally, I will add flat pieces of slate and also some pieces of bark from birch and beech. I placed the slate and bark across the setup to create hiding spots and give the whole layout a more natural forest-like appearance. And with the addition of live plants, I'm not only enhancing the look, they also help stabilize humidity levels and provide even more hiding spaces. When stacking the slates, you of course have to make sure they can't collapse when the salamanders climb over them or push underneath. I'm really curious to see how the plants grow into the foam structure over time. The moss goes near the wet areas, close to the water and the back wall, since it likes to stay very moist. I give the moss a light misting and clean the glass for better visibility. Then I attach the hose for the backwall irrigation and run a quick test of the pump. This will provide some water circulation and keep the backwall moist. A small group of isopods is added as well. They help break down waste and act as a secondary food source. To prevent escape, I applied 2 strips of transparent tape around the inner rim of the terrarium. This climbing barrier means I don't need a lid, which improves air circulation while still keeping the salamanders safely inside. 1 strip might be enough, but better safe than sorry. Let's have a quick overview of the finished setup. I really like how natural it still looks, even though we only used filter foam instead of any soil. You can also see the tunnel more clearly when it's lit from the side. I can't wait to see if the salamanders will use it at all. And when I compare it to the sketch I made earlier, it's actually come together pretty much how I imagined it. Now it's finally time for my red fire salamanders to move in. They're entering the new setup and beginning to explore. This kind of setup might also work well for other terrestrial amphibians that don't dig much, like certain newts or smaller toads. If you're curious about more traditional setups using soil and natural substrate, you can check out my previous salamander setup videos. That system is also working very well. One of the salamanders already found the tunnel, after just a few minutes of exploring. That's a great sign and exactly what I was hoping for. It means the structure isn't just decorative, but actually offers usable and interesting space for the salamanders. That's it for today's video. I'm really happy with how the new setup turned out. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to like and subscribe for more herb content here on AquaTerra-Life. I'll also keep you updated on how well the setup performs. And if you have any questions about the setup, feel free to ask in the comments. See you next time.